Prison break out at Lay's Buimo jail. Ombudsman Commission Forum gets calls for harsher penalties. And Pacific Games venues coming together.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and thank you for joining me. This is Friday's news. First to a story from Lay, where a number of prisoners have escaped from Buimo jail. When our Lay journalist Bethany Harriman filed this report 3 hours ago, 3 escapees had been recaptured while the rest remain at large.
Police and CIS personnel were searching along the Bumbu River for the escapees. We have information that 4 have been recaptured. An unspecified number of escapees still remain at large after they took advantage of a downpour to escape from the Buimo cells. By 2 p.m. in the afternoon, members of the correctional services were conducting roll checks to establish who broke out. Police were there at the Buimo jail and have confirmed the breakout. They are now searching alternative escape routes along the Bumbu River. West and East Taraka, including Nawai block, are being monitored for any disturbances. In April 2013, 44 prisoners on remand broke out from Buimo. 1 was shot dead, while 19 others were recaptured. A month later, Medang's beyond 48 prisoners escaped. The cause of the breakouts have been blamed on the jail's poor state of infrastructure. In 2013, escapees were able to climb over the rusting fence and escape into nearby settlements. We also have information that the breakout today is similar to that of 2013. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lay.
By 5 o'clock this afternoon, EMTV News was notified by sources within Buimo jail that a total of 70 prisoners had escaped. 46 are still at large. 9 have been recaptured. Prison insiders have also confirmed that 1 remandee from Garaina in the Morobe province was shot to death. The majority of those who escaped were remandees waiting for court hearings. Public forums being held by the Ombudsman Commission to seek views on changes to their enabling legislating have drawn strong calls for harsher penalties on corrupt leaders. The Commission was in Lay today to gauge views as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the institution after 40 years. MTV Scott White reports from Lay.
The Ombudsman Commission is holding forums like this all over the country to seek public input on changes to laws that govern them. The OC, also the arm of government that administers leadership tribunals, has received wide-ranging calls for stronger penalties on leaders found guilty of offences including theft of public monies. Ombudsman Phoebe Sangetari points out that it's a reflection of general public sentiment stemming from laws that have not evolved with changes in the country.
The comments that people have told us over the period of years is that the penalties must be increased for leadership code breaches. They said the current penalties which we have, they feel are not sufficient.
The laws governing the Ombudsman Commission were made 40 years ago and are still being used despite their ineffectiveness in the 21st century. Now, given the financial muscle of today's public office holders, including politicians, some sections of the laws, especially the penalties, are useless. Now, take for instance a leader who is found guilty of an offence and not dismissed can be fined a maximum of 1,000 kina or given a good behaviour bond of just 500 kina.
Maximum penalty is dismissal from office for 3 years only. After 3 years, you can come back. You can be elected or appointed or voted back into public office.
Challenge number 1 is to get the legislative changes finalized. Challenge number 2, and perhaps the most important, is to get the politicians to agree to laws that may come back to bite them sometime in the future. Scott White, National EMTV News, Lay.
A real estate owner and former provincial police commander says the top management of the National Housing Corporation in Port Moresby should be sacked for incompetence. Pasingan Taru told MTV News that cash flow problems should not be used as excuses to sell off standalone houses belonging to the NHC. His the first preference of sale should be given to the sitting tenant, and if another buyer is chosen, the purchase should be made public.
person to manage the affairs of the National Housing Corporation. And if he can't manage, he should be sacked. Simply sack him, because he is incompetent to run a business entity for the government. That's simple, full stop.
Chief Fire Officer Isaac Silas has admitted the fire service in PNG is in need of improvement. This was announced today at the headquarters in Port Moresby following major fires throughout the country in the last 12 months.
Over the last 12 months, major fires throughout the country have destroyed many lives and businesses. Major fires in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kokopo, Ley and Port Moresby have raised concerns on the effectiveness of the PNG fire service.
Over the last 50 years, the fire service has been neglected. I've been in the service now, and my friends around me here have been in the service since for about 30 years now. And things have not improved as much as they should have.
Chief Fire Officer Isaac Silas says the limited amount of resources in the fire service is affecting their performance.
Resource constraint has been one of the major issues there.
The availability of fire hydrants in all corners of a town or city is also important to combat fires during emergencies. Shops were burnt in the recent Chinatown fire because there were no fire hydrants available. New residential areas like the Tarauma and 8 Mile Malalo estates in Port Moresby do not have enough fire hydrants. This leaves them at risk during fire emergencies.
The availability of fire hydrant was also a major issue in there. The requirement for the hydrant, one hydrant per 100 meters is not achieved in that area and most part of the city.
There is also a need for more fire stations to be built around the country. Ley City has only one fire station, while other provinces like West Sepik have no available fire service.
There's only one fire station there. The station, the city needs anything up to 5 stations for us to be able to respond to the needs of the city. Right? For us to be effective, we need to be within 8 to 16 minutes of the risk that we provide cover for.
The fire service is currently going through a restructure phase. This has taken away a huge amount of their annual budget. However, the government has made commitments to improve the fire service in the country. Meanwhile, investigations into the Erima and Chinatown fires are still ongoing. However, electrical fault is believed to be the main cause of the fires. Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
Plastic bags and containers can last for 450 years before decomposing. Total Waste Management General Manager Jason Blackmore says it would be environmentally friendly to use biodegradable bags. Plastic objects are an eyesore on public streets, and the importance of practicing proper environmental habits was highlighted during World Environment Day celebrations in Port Moresby today.
These plastic containers can decompose after 450 years. Sopping plastics also last for a similar duration. Cartons are also dangerous for the environment, as explained by Total Waste Management General Manager Jason Blackmore.
Cartons aren't so bad on the environment. Back in our parents' days, there weren't plastic bags. The shopping and the groceries were all in plastic. In paper bags and cardboard boxes. They degrade in our environment very quickly, so a lot less harmful. But again, any packaging is bad packaging if it's not required.
Aluminium tins can be recycled 1,000 times, however, can permanently live in the environment if disposed inappropriately. Few weeks back, the company has shipped 400,000 water bottles to Australia for recycling. Similar treatment was also done for waste engine oil.
We're getting a 1 million kina waste oil recycling plant built. So our waste oil recycling plant will be in PNG in July, and it's the first of its kind in the country. So our company, from the ExxonMobil project, has exported over 1 million litres of waste oil back to Australia for treatment. So from July this year, Total Waste Management will be treating that oil in Papua New Guinea and reusing it as an environmentally beneficial fuel.
Improper waste disposal and its impact on the environment have received attention from governments, private and corporate agencies. While development and business is vital to sustain an economy, environment protection is highly valued in corporate companies' policies.
For participating in World Environment Day, this is something that's really important to us. We want to protect today for tomorrow. And that's very much in line with the World Environmental Day's theme of 7 billion dreams, but one planet. Protect with care.
Today's World Environment Day is celebrated in over 100 countries. It also marks World Triangle Day and World Ocean Day. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
Emotional farewell for Jeffrey Vaki at the Bomana Police College and more local stories coming up after the break. Stay tuned for that. Good to have you back with the news. Chief Justice Sir Salamo Injia is adamant that the construction phase of the new National and Supreme Court's complex will be completed in 2018, just months before the APEC meeting begins. Sir Salamo proudly says that the buildings will house the two higher courts with the inclusion of a new Court of Appeal.
The construction of the headquarters is for the National and Supreme Courts, which will now be separated, and a new Court of Appeal which receives appeals from the National Court for hearing by the Supreme Court. The total funding of the project is 600 million kina. So far, Phase 1 and 2 of the project has already begun with the early works and the relocation of temporary buildings. The judiciary have already received about 180 million kina and hopes to receive about 204 million kina next year.
So Phase 1 has begun. That will see the relocation of all the temporary buildings in the front. Phase 2 involves the construction of a car park, adequate car park and access road. That's already commenced. Phase 3 will involve the relocation of all the administrative buildings at the back of the court. That's yet to commence. The tender has gone out. Phase 4 will involve the relocation of the district court, again to the other side, and the tender for that.
The tender for the main construction is already out, with thousands of bids going in. For the third and fourth phase of the construction, Sir Salamo is hopeful the contracts are given out in July for the construction to commence in August and September.
The building program hopefully will be completed by 2018 and operational before the APEC meeting. That is a rather ambitious program, but I'm sure everybody's working around the clock to try to achieve that target.
Meanwhile, the judiciary will receive its last funding in 2017 to complete the building. The design and the complex itself will be one of the state-of-the-art in PNG. Vasenata Yama, National EMTV News.
Today was an historical and emotional moment for the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. Hundreds gathered at the Bomana Police College to witness the official farewelling of former Police Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki.
The former commissioner was farewelled in a police parade this afternoon. The parade, led by Baki, involved all divisions of the police force, including the Special Services Division, Dog Unit, and regular police. Commissioner Gary Baki, being the parade host, said it is a challenging time for our PNGC and the force needs officers like Mr. Vaki, who is known for correcting mistakes on the spot. He said though Vaki and himself are old-schooled, they have sworn on an oath to live a disciplined lifestyle and urged all officers to do the same, whether on or off duty.
All members of the constabulary to remember your training. Remember the discipline that we installed in you when you first entered the gates of Bomana.
Vaki's farewell parade is a police tradition that died out, and Baki wishes to ignite that practice back into the force. During his takeover ceremony last month, Baki highlighted the need to practice police protocols and said the lack of command and control experienced in recent months signals the need for the force to uplift its discipline, grooming and standards in all parts of the country.
I will strictly enforce the command and control discipline within the constabulary by ensuring that corrupt, undisciplined and abusive members of the constabulary are swiftly, systematically and surgically removed from the constabulary.
Vaki's 45 years of service were acknowledged through this parade, and representing the 6,000 officers, Baki wished Vaki the best in his future endeavors. Baki said Vaki's discipline, loyalty and dedication to the constabulary will also be remembered. Tkachenko, National EMTV News.
The Tadikwa Incorporated Land Groups in Alatau, Milne Bay Province is the first ILG in Papua New Guinea who can legally lease their customary land to the state or other business bodies. The arrangement that took years to complete now gives Tadikwa landowners the same rights as any state land. 15 land titles were presented to the landowners yesterday, signaling the go-ahead to lease their land.
It has been a long and difficult journey for both the respective government departments involved, the customary landowners and the NGOs. It took at least 5 years to legally free up the land and complete all the necessary documents before a cleared title could be given.
First in our country to get these customary lease titles. We appreciate the Tadikwa members for taking the leap of faith to come with us, and we'll travel as a team and see how far we can go.
The journey to acquiring these cleared titles is a result of a move by former Lands and Physical Planning Minister Tkachenko in 2005. The move was to bring in all customary land and register them under state-owned titles. However, the move did not go well with landowners, as they fear if they register their land under the state, they might lose their land forever. But for the Tadikwa ILG, it was a tougher move because the land was under a special agriculture business lease agreement and took longer to surrender the agreements in order to issue the titles back to the customary landowners.
Tadikwa ILG is the owner of the land. They've got their underlying title, and then this has been subdivided and leases created to the different tenants that are there. So what the tenants do is now, rather than paying a state lease to the government like they do for the state leases, it will go to the Tadikwa ILG.
This exercise had proved successful because of the involvement of Lands Department, Office of the Chief of Justice, the Treasury Department, National Research Institute and Chris Abel, the man spearheading this exercise. Tadikwa is the first ILG in PNG to receive these titles, and the practice will be carried throughout Papua New Guinea in the coming years. Tkachenko, National EMTV News.
Moresby South MP and Sports Minister Justin Tkachenko maintains that his family business, PNG Gardener, complied with the procurement process in bidding for the beautifying project in Port Moresby. Mr. Tkachenko was responding to questions raised in Parliament today by Rabaul MP Dr. Alan Marat on the issue.
Already have flower pots and plants.
Dr. Alan Marat questioned Mr. Tkachenko to justify costings of the contract that was awarded to his family company, Kitoro number 33, trading as PNG Gardener by National Capital District Commission. Dr. Marat told Parliament that Kitoro number 33 was awarded a 3-year contract on January this year for the beautification project in Port Moresby, costing 9 million kina annually, bidding with 9 other companies. Dr. Marat said costings were unquantified and unjustified, yet NCDC approved the project. He claimed he has concrete evidence.
The costings are unquantified and unjustified, and yet NCDC approved the contract.
Dr. Marat also raised in Parliament a staggering amount of 20 million kina was allocated this year for some unjustified work in NCD that showed duplication of costings like flower pots along the roads.
Mr. Speaker, can the Minister also explain as to how his family business arrived at rounded up numbers, whole numbers, in thousands in all the costings.
Dr. Marat said it was a conflict of interest as Tkachenko was a member and chairman of the NCDC board. But Tkachenko told Parliament he resigned as director and shareholder for PNG Gardener and Kitoro number 33 since taking office as MP in 2012.
PNG Gardener, yes, of course, did tender for that job, which I was not present at that board meeting when they deliberated on that contract.
It's a competitive cost in maintaining the city and its infrastructure, including employment to Port Moresby residents.
But we all went through the correct, proper process. Evaluation of company assets, evaluation of if the company is suitable enough to do it.
However, the answer wasn't pleasing to opposition leader Dawn Pollier.
Because it is a lot of money. The other point that the minister has to clear, Mr. Speaker, is if we think that if they were not there, then the city would not be clean. Does that mean that there's no other person in Papua New Guinea and SME that can do that job?
But Tkachenko maintained he followed proper procedures.
Yes, there's probably other people out there, but we all went through the correct, proper process.
Meanwhile, Speaker Theo Zurenok advised Dr. Mara to table the report before Parliament after investigations will be conducted. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3675 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was trading at $0.36 US, $0.4657 Australian dollars, $0.3174 euro, and 44.37 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and cocoa closed the day lower, while coffee and copper closed higher. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper all closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 170 points lower, the ASX closed at 79 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 13 points lower as well. You're watching National EMTV News. Don't go away. We'll have more local stories after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. The Hyde Special Purpose Authority has partnered with churches to address social problems in communities. Churches in Como local level government, including 3 others in Hela province, will receive all the materials for churches and houses for pastors and missionaries. More than 700,000 kina was spent on delivering these materials.
This recently built Baptist church here at Nongoli is the new approach towards service delivery, which the Hyde Special Purpose Authority is undertaking. The authority has always put 10% of its annual grants towards church activities, but this way in the form of cash handouts. It has now decided to change the system by delivering actual materials and buildings to churches. On Wednesday, hundreds gathered at Nongoli to witness the handover of 5 containers filled with roofing iron, cement bags and other materials for church buildings and houses for pastors. The team from the Special Purpose Authority, led by Chairman Lamson Mapiri, and officers from the Department of Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs, were welcomed by members of different churches and school students. It was an opportunity for officers to highlight the purpose and functions of the Special Purpose Authority.
So, you must get this authority start inside law. One LLC, where he got resource development projects he start. Heights gas project he start. That's why department is giving Heights Special Purposes Authority.
The people from Heights Petroleum Development License Areas 1 and 7 were told that SPA is a service delivery mechanism and people should not see it as a dividend-paying entity for landowners.
Now you know what goes in a people like carry camera here. This law business stuff, all man lo must be on a all by campaign. Money blowing by stuff here. Bank by stuff here. ILC by stuff here.
Hyde Special Purpose Authority was established in 2006 and since then has delivered projects to Como LLG totaling up to 15 million kina.
chairman of the authority said there was a lot of misuse in the past because people do not understand the purpose of the authority. Recipients of these materials thank the authority for making this decision to change from cash handouts to actually delivering the materials.
It's the case. Time I'm handlo man, I'm sabi disappear. Given this 10% straight, one time of materials come to house and make me play yamamas now.
The authority has also invested in providing school uniforms for 14,000 school students in 6 schools in Como, LLG. It has also secured land at Nongoli to establish its office space so that people can have access to the authority, which is close to home. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
Resource owners from the PNG LNG project have threatened to shut down the conditioning plant in Hides if their demands are not met by the state. More than a year after the first shipment of LNG gas, resource owners are still waiting for their royalties. Landowners from Petroleum Development's License Areas 1 and 7 have written to developer ExxonMobil questioning the delay in their royalty payments. Those from PDL 1 are urging the state to bring the balance of 19 million kina of their business development grants to Hela and not do payouts here in Port Moresby. ExxonMobil responded through a letter saying the money is with the state, who is responsible for administering landowner royalties. EMTV was in Hides when the landowners raised this concern.
A fortnight ago, the landowners from Hides Petroleum Development License Areas 1 and 7 wrote to developer ExxonMobil questioning the release of their royalties. 3 days later, ExxonMobil responded, saying it had fulfilled all its responsibilities under the Oil and Gas Act and project agreements. The letter also states that the developer has been paying royalties to a nominated account identified by the Department of Petroleum and Energy. While the state is yet to complete landowner identification and benefit distribution process, the landowners are demanding answers from the state.
Kwiti, is supposed to pay him, but then all put him all DP nominate him one black account na, all put him manigolo bank so that all by paying bien.
Not only are they questioning the delay, but also demand the payment of PDL-1 area business development grant of 19 million kina to be paid in Hela.
All chiefs lawyer, lona hiwa na tukupa, chebikarai, budoluguni, na tukutabiria, oli lagim narbla business development grant, oli signim lon high speed PDL-1 LBSA. Islam money must come back lon handlo labun lo high speed one, especially money must up and down lon Nogoli village, Bermo village, Kulu village, na Chebigarai village.
This group back in Hela claimed that the process of selecting proposals for BDG payments have been hijacked by few landowners who have connections with bureaucrats in Port Moresby. They want transparent selection process for genuine landowners in Hela to benefit.
Me like stopping misla condition plan. Suppose feedback come back long kamban. Di moli go me bla ratim letai go na kamban em sound kamani me bla plati time. That's why mokota money bin sani agreement na ko ko pass lo sila LNG like bring him come long benefit blo paburing ni by benefit long all fight lo sila long kana mokota die finish.
These demands are yet to reach concerned government entities like Department of Petroleum and Energy and Vulupindi. The holdup is with the completion of landowner identification process for benefit distribution. Despite this response from the developer, the landowners still want an audience with the state entities to clarify on the delay. The Hides PDL-1 and 7 landowners are now giving the state 7 days to respond to their grievances. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas, the world auction record was broken in Hong Kong this week at Christie's jewelry auction after a ruby and diamond necklace was sold for more than $13 million. The 10 intense minutes of phone bidding gave an idea of how sought after the necklace was. The necklace is complete with the rarest sources of rubies in the world and designed by Edmund Chin from local design house, etc. The jewelry's auctions total also broke the record for the highest jewelry auction total in Asia. Well, True Guy Sports is coming up next, and we take a look at some of our Pacific Games venues. We hear they're starting to look very impressive. Stay tuned for that.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome to True Guy Sports. Visitors to the venues which will be used to host the Pacific Games were left in an impressive mood after a 3-hour tour of the Taurama Aquatic Centre, Bisini Sporting Complex and the Sir John Guy Stadium. The tour allowed visitors to see for themselves the stages of completion and to clarify the speculation of a deferral of the Games.
The tour began with the delegation being given a briefing by Game CEO Peter Stewart upon their arrival at the new-look Taurama Aquatic Centre. The centre boasts 6 indoor basketball courts, a 50-metre competition pool and a smaller warm-up pool, as well as retractable seating which can accommodate for just over 2,000 spectators. Venue Operation Manager Ben Wells proud of the facility.
We are going to bring in another 700 odd seats, and there's 1,000 outside by the pool for spectators and 250 for VIPs. It's got 6 indoor basketball courts, which are also volleyball courts, and a 50-metre pool and a 25-metre warm-up pool.
Wells also making comparisons with other more well-known structures.
Very few. It was built off MSAC, but maybe I'm biased, but I think it's better than MSAC, which is the Melbourne Sports Aquatic Centre. It's just, yeah.
Visitor Peter Aitzi impressed.
Impressed with the pool, definitely impressed with the pool. The stadium, we're just about to tour, so we'll see what kind of work's still required to be done there, but overall it looks like it's coming along well.
The entourage then taken to for a drive through the Bisini complex, then on to the Sir John Guy Stadium, where another visitor, John Pora, spoke of his pride at seeing the stadium and surrounding facilities.
I know there's a lot of doubts with the scaffolding and things, but I went online and had a look at some of the designs around the world just to see whether, you know, we're following some trends and patterns around the world, and I think we are, and I think it's something that people can be proud of, and also rest assured, you know, that the game's going to happen and that the facilities are in good order.
Another new structure, the state-of-the-art hockey field, which features a pop-up sprinkler system for the synthetic turf. Venue manager Lee Pockerup also stating the amazement expressed by international visitors as well.
We had a visit from the technical directors from all the Pacific Island countries that are coming, 28 of them. They were stunned. They've never seen anything like it. They basically said, PNG, you guys have just blown us out of the water.
The final stopover in the tour, the new PNG Power Dome, which will host weightlifting.
And if you come here and watch those athletes, they'll be performing to their best because of the facilities that are here. Big crowd, close atmosphere. This will be a very exciting venue to be in, without a doubt.
Now, members from the Games Organising Committee as well as the operational managers for each one of the venues have come out very ecstatically, stating that for every single phase leading up towards the Pacific Games in July, that each one of these events is a one-of-a-kind and a first for everything, which includes live broadcasting, state-of-the-art venues, and of course, world-class athletes. Jeremy Mogi, National EMTV Sports.
Papua New Guinean champion powerlifter Linda Paulson leaves the country today for the Powerlifting World Championships. Paulson has been a strong competitor in the Oceania region, and PNG powerlifting team manager Phil Priestley believes that she will do well at the World Championships.
Linda Paulson has been preparing for the World Championship for months now and is ready to compete against the world's best powerlifters and make the country proud.
She's already broken the world record unofficially, but to get it officially recognized, she needs to appear at the world titles in Finland, where you know, hopefully on that day she will actually excel and break the record again, just to let everybody know that who she is and that she's from Papua New Guinea.
The World Championship will be great preparation for Paulson in the lead up to the Pacific Games next month.
Yeah, she'll do significantly well at Finland. I'd expect hopefully a podium finish in one of the disciplines, and then the main priority is then get her back here and get her set for the Pacific Games, obviously, when she can come and compete in her home country and hopefully put on a really good show in front of a home crowd, which she'll love.
Paulson has been preparing well, and expert coach Scott Upston believes she is ready and can perform beyond expectation at the World Championship. Paulson will be a strong competitor at the Pacific Games and will face tough competition from the powerlifting nation of Nauru. Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
Papua New Guinea's shooting team is quietly confident of delivering strong performances come the Pacific Games. Despite a few hurdles, the selected 12 shooters have been undergoing intense training in Port Moresby and abroad. The PNG Shooting Team will compete with 7 other countries in the shotgun and pistol events. This is the first time that pistol will be featured in the Pacific Games.
It hasn't been an easy road for the PNG Shooting Team. According to Mel Donald, president of the Shooting Association of PNG, recruitment of the team began 2 years ago, with the last 18 months spent on qualifying. She said there have been challenges, particularly with getting ammunition in country.
We've actually had a very trying time trying to develop the squad. So the ammunition has been rationed, the equipment has been delayed in arrival, and they only just recently arrived. So the team have now basically been training overseas. So every opportunity we get, we have sent the team to Brisbane.
And the shotgun team did exceptionally well at the Brisbane Gun Club monthly shooting competition 2 weeks ago.
Being new to the Brisbane club, we were all slotted in the C grade, but apparently myself and Angus Donald did quite well. Out of 30 target single barrel shot, myself and Angus both shot 29 out of 30.
Shooter Angus Donald is confident of the team's medal prospects.
We've got a lot of good talent here in the club. You know, we've had a lot of training in Brisbane as well as back home here in Moresby to prep for the games. Countless amount of hours we've put together as a team, to build each other's morale, I should say, to get where we are now. So we've got good hopes in getting gold medals anyway in the games.
The shotgun team also had a weekend of coaching earlier in the year by Australian Olympian shooter Russell Mark.
One of the best coaching lessons I've ever had as a beginner.
We learned a lot from Russell. It was a really first time that we've had a world famous shooter coming in with that experience and that level and quality to pass on his knowledge to us.
The team is ready for the games and will continue to train until the Pacific Games begin. All this is not without challenge.
I think we've covered everything from our end, and the whole team's put in a big effort. And most of the training's coming out of our own pockets. All the shooters are paying for all the expenses. It's been pretty expensive to shoot. And I guess in recent months the drive is there to shoot for our country.
The team will compete against 7 other countries, including large contingents from Guam and New Caledonia. Over 700 shooters have been registered to take part in shooting come July. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV Sports.
A 10-member team of PNG table tennis representatives returned today from China. The team went on an intensive training program founded by the Chinese government and supported by the PNG Olympic Committee. The purpose of the program was to give the athletes the exposure to high-level competitions played overseas and, most importantly, the Pacific Games.
The team were doing intensive training down in China. Team comprises of 4 female and 6 male players who are currently the best in the country. While in China, they had the opportunity to test their skills with some of the local competitors and experience the level of competition firsthand.
Because the training was scheduled from 9 to 11 in the morning and 3 o'clock to half past 5 in the afternoon, which was very intense, and it's 6 days a week.
China is ranked #1 in the world in the sport of table tennis. And to have the PNG team to train and experience such competition at its highest level will surely boost the team's performance.
With this training, we have learned a lot of new things, and
the rules have changed and the level has gone up. With their expert trainers and coaches giving us a good intensive training for the duration of our stay, I believe the team will go another step higher than the last previous result.
In the past Pacific Games in Nomea, men's team finished 5th in the overall rankings and the women's finished 8th.
Definitely. You see the so-called intensive training, for example, in China, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon. But here, for training, only 6 hours per week, which is far less enough. So we just want to improve their skills mentally and technically. So I think they have improved a lot.
Coach Mears said they will be expecting stiff competition from other Pacific Islanders, especially New Caledonia, Tahiti and Fiji, to name a few. But he remains adamant the team will perform to expectation and win medals for PNG. Shane Saroya, National, EMTV Sports.
We'll have more sporting action in Tkachenko Sports after these short messages. Stay tuned.
Tkachenko Sports.
Good to have you back with Tkachenko Sports. The Oil Search Pacific Games Baton Relay went island hopping through the friendly Tkachenko Islands. The relay left the flat island of Kiruna for the mountains of Goodenough. A traditional sing-sing group met with the baton on arrival, and the relay was started by the chieftain on the mountain men from Mount Morawa with a Higiva man, locally respected for their monk-like traditions and unusual choice to wear no clothing.
Here, the schools of Peter Torat Community and Santa Maria Secondary ran the relay through Wataluma. Lines of children all waiting to touch the baton. And Santa Maria School had a message for Team PNG.
Wataluma is celebrating its 25th Silver Jubilee, and we want a gift from Team PNG. What do we want? Go Team PNG!
A visit to Bolobolu Station and a relay around its outskirts involving past PNG athletes, students, teachers, and members of the soccer team who had represented their province in the PNG Games. The district president speaking of how the baton's arrival was an omen that after 40 years, the rest of Papua New Guinea had not forgotten them. From there, the relay flew to Esaala on Normanby Island for a relay that involved many in the community. A sing-sing group was there with a song for the baton at the provincial government office as the baton moved among staff. School children lining up, and they too had their chance to touch and hold onto the baton. The baton disappeared on a motorbike, but soon returning. Leaving Esaala, the baton arrived at Epepoa on Ferguson Island for an afternoon of sing-sing groups singing welcoming songs for the baton. Then entertainment from Pacific Islands dancers, with a traditional group keeping the entertainment going through the afternoon. The Oil Search Pacific Baton Relay continues.
And that's a take on our Tkachenko Sports segment tonight. We'll be back with the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay with us.
Tkachenko Sports. Tkachenko Sports.
Taking a quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region. Fine weather expected in the nation's capital. Brief evening showers for Karaman, Popondetta. Brief squally showers in Daru, while patchy rain expected in Alata. Well, that has been the news, sports and weather this Friday, the 5th of June 2015. On behalf of the news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi. You have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Good night.